Hey everybody. I thought I'd do a little breakdown of uh, leaders in Canada, starting with the premiers, which is the governors of our various provinces. And we'll just start alphabetically with Alberta. So one, that's where I live. Two, it's the best province in the country of Canada. So, um, and that's largely in part to the following lady who leads the province of Alberta, Danielle Smith. So we'll talk a little bit more about her. Here's a bio of her. So Danielle Smith was born in 1971 in Calgary, Alberta. She's a Canadian politician, journalist, and current premier of the province of Alberta. She has served as the 19th premier of the province since October 11th of 2022 and is the leader of the United Conservative Party. She is a proud Albertan and represents the riding of Brooks Medicine Hat in the Legislative Assembly, a seat she won in a by-election on November 8th, 2022, shortly after becoming premier. Smith grew up in Calgary as the second of five children in a working class family. Her paternal grandfather was a Ukrainian immigrant who anglicized his name to Philip Smith, his Ukrainian name being Philippus Kolondeniki. Sorry if I butchered that, but it's Ukrainian. Um, he arrived in Canada in 1915. Smith attended uh, University of Calgary, earning a Bachelor of Arts in English in 1993 and another in Economics in 95. During her university years, she was immersed in a politically active environment, engaging with both conservative and progressive circles, alongside notable classmates like Ezra Levant and Naheed Nenshi. Ezra Levant is a news hound for a news organization called Rebel News. He is very good. He's similar to like an Alex Jones or a Glenn Beck, a very vocal independent news organization that chases down anything of really of interest or slightly controversial. He has interviewed people from all over. He's been all over the world chasing news stories that are of interest, especially with regards to free speech and limitation of rights and things like that. So if there's some kind of protest or somewhere or some way that your rights or freedoms are being limited or trampled on by government, especially here in Canada, Ezra will probably be there reporting on it. So if you haven't heard of Ezra Levant, highly recommend going and looking him up in Rebel News. He's really good. So Smith worked alongside him. Naheed Nenshi is a left-wing whack job. Um, I have nothing good to say about Naheed Nenshi, nor does anybody who, yeah, anyway, Naheed Nenshi. I'll just leave it at that. You can go look him up. I'm not going to do any about him. He's not worth the breath to waste on him. Anyway, Danielle Smith began her career in journalism and media, where she worked as a columnist, radio host, television personality, often sharing her views on politics and healthcare. She also worked as the director of provincial affairs for Alberta within the Canadian Federation of Independent Businesses. She entered provincial politics in 2009 when she became the leader of the Wild Rose Party, growing it into the official opposition by 2012. In 2014, she controversially crossed the floor to join the Progressive Conservative Party under then Premier Jim Prentice, a move that ended her tenure as a member of the Legislative Assembly in 2015 when she lost her seat. She returned to media, later became president of the Alberta Enterprise Group before re-entering politics in 2022. Smith won the United Conservative Party leadership race in October of that same year, 22, following then Premier Jason Kenney's resignation. She campaigned on a platform of provincial autonomy, most notably through what is called the Alberta Sovereignty Within the Canada Act, passed in December of 2022. This legislation, just to brief history on that, aims to protect Alberta from federal policies deemed harmful to the province's interest. So you can think of like emissions caps or production quotas or anything that would be government overreach would it falls within that. So it's really monumental. It's really good. uh, she led the United Conservative Party to a majority government in the 2023 general election, securing 49 seats. Though the party saw reduced dominance in urban centers like Calgary and Edmonton, in November of 2024, she won a strong endorsement from United Conservative Party members with a 91.5% support in a leadership review. So to say she's doing great would be a massive understatement. Known for her libertarian leaning views, Premier Smith has been a polarizing figure. She's advocated for Alberta's withdrawal from the Canada Pension Plan, opposed the COVID 19 mandates, and supported policies like banning trans women from women's sports. Her tenure has been marked by some controversies, including past comments on Ukraine, unproven claims of Cherokee ancestry, and unorthodox health-related statements. Despite this, she remains a staunch defender of Alberta's interests against federal overreach. Um, let's, let's see. And that's more or less it. She's married to a gentleman named David Moretta. He's a journalist. They have a son together and live in a place called High River, where they own and operate a restaurant and had a dog. And yeah, she admires figures like Ayn Rand and Margaret Thatcher, and has always had a lifelong passion for Alberta public policy and balancing free enterprise, individual freedom, and the role of government. So that is Alberta Premier Danielle Smith in a nutshell. Um, you will probably see more of her. She's a firecracker. She's done a lot for Alberta. Really kept the lights on in more ways than one. Um, the Green New Deal that Trump just pulled out of in the States is unfortunately alive and well here in Canada, which means that people like Trudeau are pushing for phasing out of natural gas power plants or coal power plants in favor of unreliable sources of energy such as wind and solar. Um, it's freaking Alberta, for crying out loud. Like we just got through a cold snap where the high was minus 25 Celsius, right? So I don't know what that is in Fahrenheit, but anyway, it's freaking cold, right? So needless to say, with the snow and the wind and the blow, you're not going to get really reliable wind for one, because if it blows too much, you can't run the turbines. And the solar arrays are covered. You're not going to get much from them either. So whatever. Anyway, so she's been a big advocate for literally keeping our lights on and our heat running, pushing back on Ottawa's overreach and draconian communist oppressive measures at every turn. She has, I think, won 3 or 4 lawsuits against the federal government. So, assets that are assets within a province are owned by the province, right? So, like oil sands, for example, reside in Alberta and northern Saskatchewan. So those belong to those provinces, right? The trade deals with the states are brokered by the federal government, but they don't own the assets being brokered. Those are owned and operated by the province and under the province's purview. So they don't have to ask Ottawa's permission to drill or frack or extract oil. That's not how it works here in Canada. So if they want to do those things, they can, right? Uh, it's just the way it is. Um, so, which is good because it's kept Alberta with a good number of jobs, and it's been really good. So I don't even know where we'd be now because I don't know if anybody else in the States knows this, but Justin Trudeau really hates Alberta. His father hated Alberta, which is why we have the some of the measures that we have. It's whatever. Anyway, so that is my take on that is my little bio on Danielle Smith. And yeah, so if you like this, just let me know in the comments below. We'll do British Columbia next, so they're our neighbors to the west. And yeah, thanks for watching. Talk to you later.